has that. We would like each group to have one scribe. So for each of the 2 walks, we'll come back with one master list of input and observations. Then beyond that, each of you will have a sheet that has some guidance. This is a tool that Kendall recommended to our group because of its comprehensiveness. So each person will have one of these as well, just give you some guidance on what to look for out on the walk. But within each group, there's one clipboard that has a master one of these on it, and we'd like each group to have a scribe that takes responsibility for capturing the input of other group members there. There's also a map of the town. Someone can have, there's one for each group. Again, a master one where if someone could circle and then jot a little note, again, about a pinch point or an observation of possibility for creating some improvements. So, on the map? I'm sorry? That's to be done on the map. On the map would be helpful as well. That way, both the data that we have on both the map and this checklist can be combined at the end. Okay? Once you get back, we'll go at our own paces, but when your group comes back, we'd like the team captains to organize a debrief of the experience and make sure that everyone's input is captured. Maybe there are some observations that are not, specifically on this worksheet that someone would like to have captured within their group. So if you could do that, and then Rod will facilitate an overall quick discussion about things that we found and observed along the way. Any other? We have AARP has brought vests for everyone for our safety. So we have just about enough.
Oh yeah, I don't know that everybody can have one, but enough in the group will give you some visibility.
So at a minimum, let's make sure the person in front and back each have one.
Who's our scribe? Jennifer's our scribe.
I'll do that.
Let's just have a. Does anyone have any basic questions about how this is going to work and what we're looking for here?
I'm gonna fill this
When you
stuff
say
out.
going east,
Just
on Western Avenue, just on Route 9 here?
Just on Route 9, just on Western Avenue. Yeah, we're going to go as far as the covered bridge, hopefully, and then turn around and come back.
Okay.
All right, so I think we've got sidewalk most of the way on both sides, and so we'll go on one side and come back on the other if that works out. I think there might be a section when that doesn't work out, and that will. We're about to head off. So, does anyone have any questions to do with the sheet, what we're looking for, or we'll just get rolling, and as we come across items, we can figure out how the form works. Jennifer's going to be our scribe, so the things we're looking for are similar to the things that we saw in the presentation.
So how far down are we going to walk to?
Hopefully to the covered bridge.
So you're gonna tip me off, right?
Well, right. You're in this direction.
Okay.
Towards here.
Okay.
So this is our first challenge here. What happens to the sidewalk on the other side of the driveway opening?
That's like a riddle. Where do the kids go into school?
The kids go in through this opening here, and the vehicles exit at the next break the driveway. So you could texture the surface of the driveway and make it look much more like a sidewalk, so that the driver is much more conscious that they're crossing a sidewalk rather than having the pedestrians think that they're going to have to stop for a street. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like the balance is in favor of the car there rather than in favor of the pedestrian. So everything's going right. They're going to follow that sidewalk all the way in, but it's going to take them through the parking lot. So there's some.
What about the walking on the other side?
Right. They're coming the other way. Yeah. Not so much. Is this when the school is operating? Is there somebody here in the morning, or is it just on the crosswalk?
The crossing guard is only at the crosswalk.
There's no kind of effort to sort of keep things moving and keep people separate from
With
kids.
a person?
With a person, with a human.
Not that I know of.
Okay.
No.
All right. I mean, because that's the other solution, that you figure out those kinds of strategies. Today, as a pedestrian, you'd have a choice of like walking over there, but it's still.
Well, and then in the winter, nothing here would be for you.
Yes.
So you'd be in the road.
That's right. The key point, that's a really good point, actually. Can you make a note of that?
Yeah, I'm writing that down.
Right. So, exactly. I'm glad that Alice brought that up. So right now this is like perfect conditions. Everyone's feeling really happy. It's Saturday morning, they're driving nice and slow and they're looking at us. But that actually isn't the way things are here most of the time. Most of the time it's raining or snowing when school's in session, and there's piles of snow on the edge of the road, and this is all covered in snow, so you can't traverse this thing, which means that as a pedestrian or a cyclist, you're out there, or maybe if you're lucky, you can use this. But all the pressure is on the pedestrians and the cyclists to compromise. The only area of the road that's really working or functional is the area of road devoted to the vehicles. Yeah.
And the crosswalk is probably also faded and can't be seen, so you do have the signs here, but that middle sign won't be there. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. That thing in the middle is not going to be there in winter.
Absolutely not.
Right.
But when you're in a crosswalk, this actually, Gene Wren just defined this for me a few weeks ago. If you are in a crosswalk, the motorist must yield to you. If you are waiting on the side of the crosswalk, they do not need to stop for you.
So you have to actually
if you
put
are
a foot
downtown, yes, if you are downtown in those crosswalks, waiting on the side of the road, motorists are supposed to be yielding to you. In other words, in downtown, while you're waiting, they should stop, let you cross. In other crosswalks around, they only need to yield to you once you're in it.
Oh, that's
You
weird.
have to sort of step in.
Yeah.
You have to step in
You have
and
to make that
yourself
first
known.
move.
Right. And then, yes, exactly. Dangle your foot, and then and it's a little dance. And then the other thing is, and this is state law, and Gene explained this the other day too. If you're in a stretch of road where you can't see a painted crosswalk, you're allowed to cross the road at any point that's safe, but you're supposed to wait for the vehicle to go by. Like, you're not supposed to just jump out in front of a car. But on the other hand, motorists are required to yield, if they come across somebody crossing the road without a crosswalk. And so that's much more of a sort of a setting further out on the highway, on Route 5 this direction, or Route 5 north of town, like like where we live, right? So it's a little bit.
There's a lot of regulation, actually, which I think makes it difficult. A lot of regulation for both the pedestrian and the motorist. It's not absolutely easy to understand. See somebody waiting, must stop. See somebody walking, must stop. It isn't like that. And that's a lot of rules for the world to know.
I mean, I would assume someone sees this, they assume it's when school's in session.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like on a Saturday.
Right.
There's a lot of issues like that.
Exactly.
It looks like
The sign looks like children, too.
One of these
Yeah.
crosswalks and see if people actually stop. Maybe they will because there's a group.
So there's a constantly flashing orange light to indicate that that's a dangerous intersection there, and also a crosswalk. But I think that also people
Oh, here we go.
don't.
All right, let's see what happens.
Yeah, see, that's
They've
that
made it
person,
almost.
that's illegal.
Right. Yeah. What the blue card just broke the law. Right. And you see that really frequently. People actually will make this choice that if the pedestrian's on one side of the road and they're on the other, they're like they can just go, and that's not okay.
I think also know the length of this particular crosswalk.
Oh, yeah,
I
it's
think it's
horrible.
been measured like at 70 feet.
Right.
which
Actually,
is,
Yes.
somebody's got a measuring tape here, right? Oh yeah. Michael,
It's
you're the one.
length of the sidewalk
If-
is bad for a pedestrian.
Yes. If you're
Because to get from one side to the other, and with the traffic going at 25 to 35 miles an hour, it's an unsafe thing for a pedestrian. What there should be is what they call an island, a pedestrian island, a refuge island, where you would cross, like in front of Brooks Library. You stand somewhere and feel safe, then you can start again. So the length of a crosswalk is huge for safety.
Unless there's a cop sitting here, there's nothing.
so what do you
there's
do?
nothing
Just jump
telling
in front of
people.
the car?
No, hopefully not.
Yeah, I'm
But
just
you
joking.
wait patiently for a long time sometimes.
Yep.
And then sometimes people don't see you on the other side, so you're halfway across and then
Yeah,
you're
right, yeah.
stuck.
so this is the end. I mean, it's more to service the front of the school than it is to do, or to the entrance to the school. So, yeah. And these are our more recent efforts at trying to delineate where the cars should and shouldn't go. But you'll even see, I mean, I think they're trying to preserve the barrels and stuff. They've actually, they moved in a little bit, so they're actually in the middle of that hatched space rather than right on the edge. But it's, I mean, I think they've already lost a couple, so.
This is the cars are coming out here,
Yeah.
and then they're going to go out that way.
Right.
Now this person's going 30, so that's just at the speed limit.
It still seems
Looks
fast.
fast, doesn't it?
Well, just think if you were hit
Well,
by that car going 30,
Yeah.
you'd be pretty
hurt.
hurt. What's with the double speed limit signs?
Truck and car.
Yeah.
Trucks are 25 and cars are 30.
Right. That's all the way
That's
along
a-
Western Avenue.
Is that normal?
No.
Oh, okay.
It's
Looks
Brattleboro.
like I've never seen that. I probably
Um,
have, but it never read
you see, you see it in some places. It's not that common anymore. It's a lovely day and everything's fine, and we think we can operate in what most car drivers, I think, actually view this where the edge line for us. I think they view it as somewhere where they park, and if things go wrong, that's a breakdown lane, right? We're being asked to view it as a sidewalk. There's a sidewalk further up, actually, yeah. So, okay. And on the other side is a sidewalk. So that's actually, it's not too bad here.
Another thing, Rod, I would bet, if you're, let's say you're trying to make a left to go into Sonny's Deli,
Yeah.
and a car's coming this way, what I bet you a car is going to say is, I have a road that I can go around that.
Yes, I do.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's like an extra turn, you know,
Yeah, an extra turn lane.
passing lane.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's how it's unofficially
It's
used.
also by
Yeah,
cars.
right.
What, the sidewalk?
Yeah. I can't imagine anyone really.
It's what do you think? I feel like I've never been on it before.
I've never been here.
Alice, you work at the school? No, you.
At the school.
You work at middle
No, I work at Green Street
Oh,
School.
okay.
Yeah.
So, and you've never used the sidewalk?
We were just standing there and didn't even see it.
Yeah.
I didn't see it.
Well, it's so disconnected
Where's it
from.
going?
Well, it's connected to the one in front of the church, but
Let's say you're going to, even if then you're riding your bike or whatever, you come along here. I mean,
Right.
in theory, you can use this to avoid
right.
being on Western Avenue. But what's going to happen is once you get to Melrose Bridge, tough luck, go into the road. Especially if you're 7 or 8 on a bicycle.
And
Why
there's
not?
no crosswalk up
There's
there.
nothing.
All right.
Wow.
Well,
It's
this
the
is not.
Last gasp before you might get killed.
How would you characterize the condition of this section of the sidewalk, though? I mean, it's definitely too narrow.
Uneven.
it's
For
not bad
walking.
It's okay.
And
I mean,
if you're in a
it's not-
wheelchair, you get down to that.
Yeah,
section.
wheelchair, forget that too.
That's it.
Right.
Yeah.
As part of the town plowing, I bet you they don't plow this. There, I would guess. We could ask Steve Barrett, but so that again in the wintertime, this will be covered in snow and ice until thaw.
This is a private home. They've got this nice thing going on where you can, for them, where you can, if you're coming from the west, you've got this section of driveway. If you're heading to the east, you've got that section of driveway. So they've effectively got 2 openings here. And then again, this interesting zone where the sidewalk is sort of, it's not fitting in very well with the driveway on this side or this side. You know, this is where it breaks. I mean, this is a really typical setting. So, you know, we're all able-bodied in this group and we don't have kids in strollers and that kind of stuff, but this is enough for older or frailer people or kids with toddlers who are just learning to walk. This is kind of a real, this is beginning to get dangerous.
Especially if there's any ice. Well, yeah.
Right. Yeah. And it's going to. Well, what you're actually seeing is this is the consequence of it constantly icing.
Yeah.
Right.
And this also, if you look at, let's say as a car, you're going to be going that way. So you come down the driveway and now you're going to make a left and you have that crosswalk.
Yeah.
And the bike lane has just ended, which doesn't mean there are no bicycles, but the whole thing here is also, as a car, it's an awful thing. You know, you can imagine, you want to go left, and yet look at what you have to work with. It's very dangerous. There's a lot of weird things that are...
Yeah, you can't get into that lane turning left without probably encroaching on the crosswalk.
Yeah.
Sidewalk on.
I mean, that's like people.
There's no you don't have to say. You don't have to.
Jennifer, that was Josh. She's so kind.
There's lots of parked cars right along here with people because of the deli, grabbing coffee. They probably just drop their kids off too, or some combination of that, or
church also.
And yeah.
But then they're crossing from here. They're probably not.
I'd say they're not using. I'd say they're not walking back to the crossing, and then
they're just starting out.
Yeah.
Probably.
And we've experienced that where we're riding with a trailer bike and we're coming down here and somebody just got in their or they're getting out of the car. They just parked. They're opening their door and there's like no room for us here. We're end up in the roadway. Yeah. And it does. It feels like you're just like ending.
Feels like what?
The end of the world. Just like you're on the edge. There's no place for us to go beyond this. It ends, and there's really no place to go at this point. You can try and run across to the other sidewalk, but it just looks so uninviting. Watch out.
So, like, what's the point of this?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Where are you going here?
Nice amenity.
Like, you have the ADA.
I know. Can you believe it?
Treatment, but there's no crosswalk.
Well, okay. So this is the classic. This is the kind of classic disconnect. This is a fairly recently renovated structure.
Oh, right.
Right. And I think it's Wyndham. Is this Wyndham Windsor Housing Trust?
Yeah, it is.
Right.
It is.
So this property has been redeveloped using public funds, and so what you see is brand new sidewalk from them all the way around. Well considered parking with a disability space in the rear, and then a compliant ADA insert here to facilitate wheelchairs leaving the sidewalk. But there's literally nowhere for them to go. So they've checked every box that they're supposed to check. They've done a perfect job, but it's a complete disconnect to the environment that it's situated in. So I mean, this is the classic kind of conundrum that we confront all the time. What we should be doing is trying to find a way of connecting this good work to more good work. But that's the problem. Let's clump up and see if we can cross.
Who's going to go first?
Yeah, really. See, how are we supposed to do it? Because there's no mechanism for us to do it. Right. But what are you going to do? You know?
Alright, let's go.
This is the part I like the best.
And in the winter, we're on this side. That's where it.
Because we go out to like Lilac Ridge to get our milk, or he's going to be going to Academy. Then once we're riding here, we get in the middle of the lane. And we just have to take over traffic all the way until I feel safe enough to let the cars go. And I've had some angry drivers behind me.
I'm sure you have.
But I'm not, I feel I have the right to the road.
Yeah,
as much right to the road as anybody else.
Yeah. Okay.
And there's no actual marked crossing so you can get over to a sidewalk or curb cuts or anything.
And then for any cyclist, especially we're riding together, he's on a trailer bike, I have to get into the middle of the road.
Right there.
Because there's no infrastructure for us at all.
And you wouldn't cross.
No.
Because that's also not very safe.
Right.
But if you're walking, you might say, oh, the sidewalk's over here, so I'll cross over, but there's no place for you to safely cross.
There's property maintenance. So it's a nice bush. but it's really encroaching on the sidewalk, and so this is a repeated problem, and it's that awareness on the part of the property owner that the sidewalk is for everybody, not just the front of their house, I guess.
Yeah, and again, there's an ordinance.
Yes.
So the junk car, instead of being on the lawn, is actually in the middle of Western Avenue. The Volkswagen.
Yeah.
Okay.
With a planter.
Then
Make it a
people
planter.
see a car stopped and they go, "Oh, okay, I should be so." Yeah.
The new veg.
No, they do.
I know they do.
They come and they clean the roads twice a year. They will never clean the sidewalk.
This will stay here
For decades.
Yeah.
Oh, never. They never clean.
Responsibility?
Yes. Just like they clean roads and they clean up the dirt in the springtime.
And for any kid who wants to like ride their bike to school, like with their parent,
Right.
this is where they're going to be riding. You know what I mean, that's where he's going to be riding.
Yes.
And
So it's bad enough in a car driving up and down where there's this much airborne grit and dust. You know, if you've got your windows down, if it's a slightly windy day, it just adds to that kind of dust, cloud of dust.
Absolutely.
But as a pedestrian or as a cyclist, the silica and the glass and the junkiness, you really sort of don't want to be breathing this in.
Their lawns are nice.
We want to get.
Let's just group people together here. We really want to try and make it as far as the farmer's market, not for any other
Okay,
reason
yeah.
than that's kind of like on a day like today,
Yeah.
that could be a destination
Yes,
to walk
absolutely.
or to ride.
Yes.
And so it's a little short of the bridge. It's just over this rise over here. So we're going to walk on this side, and then I think this side that we're on now, conditions are a little better, so we're going to move a little faster on the way back.
You looked at Paula's slideshow in detail yet, but she found a place up here where it's really hard for any wheelchair access. So there's somewhere,
On this side?
Yeah,
on
somewhere
this
here.
side.
Yeah.
Yeah, down when the hill comes down.
Oh, right.
Yes. Yeah, there's no clearance at all.
He's going.
And see, the crazy part about it is that the road itself is actually in parts excessively wide, and then
Yes.
the bridges are excessively narrow. So you get this sort of weird conflict, and it would be better if they were just like moderately bad.
Rod, another thing we were noticing was if you're, because there's only sidewalk on one side of the bridge, if you're a bicyclist heading in either direction and there's a pedestrian coming from the other direction,
Yes.
and the bicyclist must yield to the pedestrian, there's nowhere to yield.
Right.
And you could be, if you were on a bike with a trailer,
Yeah.
you really aren't, there's no room to yield. I mean, even if you stop dead, a pedestrian is going to do
Yeah,
this to get around
Yeah.
you know? And what if you're a senior?
Yeah, it's not
Are
going to
you
work.
kidding? With
Right.
a cane?
Right.
You know, I mean,
Yeah.
it's incredible.
I think on the approach to the bridge, there needs to be a sign for cars to slow down, for a bike to allow bikers through.
Yes.
Because there's nothing at all
Yes.
telling them that
Yes.
there's a problem right
Yes.
there.
That would be good share the road
Yeah.
signs.
Cross, yeah.
Bicyclists, bicycling roadway.
Maybe some kind of striping. for
Yes,
that. Yeah.
yes.
Oh God. Thank you. And then I think we're gonna walk back. This is bad.
Yes, it does. That's the point we're trying to make.
And this drop off here.
They give them left the hedges, huh? They come straight over the sidewalk. What an eye-opener for some people who never walk.
Yeah, well, the sidewalk is like, starts like all the way over there. That's nuts.
Yeah.
So give them 10 and take a bike lane
Right.
and still have a snow.
couple that are really, really awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's one that's even more you have to hit it. Like this one, you can sort of avoid it.
Yeah.
Like if you really want to discourage cycling, this is a good idea. This is like, you know, like a project to discourage cycling.
Hi, could you tell us your name, please?
Eli.
Eli. And do you go for rides with your dad?
So the question was,
Yeah.
Are you in a trailer?
No, I'm on this trailer called that one that you can pedal on. I also have a leg or two-wheeler bike that does not have training wheels on it, and it's easy to ride it.
Do you ever get scared on the road?
Not really.
And so he's really become acclimated to being on.
He doesn't know anything better,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and actually, you know, we've been on, like we were on a bike trail in Northampton yesterday, and he absolutely enjoys that. Total freedom. He's riding his own bike. Now here, he'd have to be riding on sidewalks. And then there's the issue of the driveways, you know, cars backing out. You know, and most drivers are not looking out for cyclists coming along, so that's a big danger for kids. Another way, you know, discourage kids from riding. Parents, you know, feel, you know, sense of danger. They put the kids in the car. The kids are acclimated to the car, and then we just go around the same cycle that we've always been doing. But he's a bold rider, a very strong rider.
Well, congratulations, Eli.
Yeah.
Really cool.
They should have.
Oh, okay. Well, you know, we're always it looks so just unfit for people. I mean, you know, it looks so dangerous. We'll catch up with you guys. I gotta bring him to the bathroom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Good idea.
We're making the world better, Lisa. I know it. We're looking at the road between here and West Brattleboro and how really unsafe it is for everybody involved. And so sometimes the town has a police officer here.
It's gonna happen.
But,
Lots
like
of turning.
we were saying, but it doesn't tell you what. There is a sign actually, if you're coming from that direction, there is a sign that says Farmers Market open. I'm trying to remember where it is.
Yeah, I didn't notice it coming in, but that doesn't.
Because
mean that it's not there.
might not have been open at that moment.
Yeah.
What was the alert sign you were talking about?
Those orange cones.
There
We're like, what's up
is
with
like a
orange
little
cones?
sandwich board, I believe, that says Farmers Market open. Because I feel like I see it when I come from that direction.
Now, they did a study,
Yes.
somewhat.
Who's they?
No, I don't know who
okay.
exactly,
They.
but
Quote, unquote,
they established that the sheriff caused more accidents by standing there because people go, "Oh my God!" and
It's a
brake
cop.
really hard. So when they got rid of the sheriff, they noticed the accidents actually reduced. I sort of heard. I'm not sure how accurate that is,
That's
but
interesting.
yes.
Yes.
It's too bad that there's a.
And where was the accident? Was it here
Right
or
here.
over
The
there?
shrine is
It
over here.
It was over there,
Right
actually.
here. A person of the Brattleboro Americans with Disabilities Act Advisory Committee.
And what's your name, please?
Whitney Nichols. So here we are right here. Okay. This is where he lived, and this is, look at the driveway.
I wonder if there's even, Irene money because this was a flooded
Yes.
zone. I would
Oh,
wonder
this
if...
was right here.
Yeah.
That river. right
Water
there,
was
that.
knee-high right here.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, maybe.
It was flowing over right here.
Got flooded in the basement.
See the sediment over across
That's
the
kind
street?
of crazy. It's weird how that stuff
It works
plays
really
out,
weird.
isn't it?
Yeah, it's very, very weird. I mean, this Volkswagen's perfect. That's all I want to say. There's nothing wrong with it.
So we need to have accessibility to...
This is a one-way traffic situation. Cars and buses only come this way.
What do you think if they actually, made this two-way and got rid of the parking?
Well, how about get rid of the parking, keep it one way, and create a multi-use path?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Widen that to twice that. Have one thing for kids walking and another path just for cyclists.
Do you
How about
remember what
that?
they did at Putney? How they basically
Yes.
flipped it around?
Yes.
So they used to have the buses coming to the turnaround in
Yes.
front, and then they
Yes.
had that for parents, and then they put the buses out the back.
Yes,
It's actually an improvement.
I bet.
It took me a while to be convinced, but I think it's an improvement.
I went back to my old high school in Pennsylvania, suburban Philadelphia. They've redesigned it. They've done exactly that. Bus drop-off is in one part of the school. Car drop-off is in the other.
Right.
They separated entirely.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Forget once they do things like that. See, again, they're still just only thinking about vehicles.
Well, they think of one dangerous aspect, and they want to separate two uses out, and then somebody else gets squished because there's three users,
Right, right.
or at least three,
Right,
And so it's still, you got to pull it in three different directions, not
Right.
just one.
Right.
And a lot of people have difficulty crossing the street. I'm down here. I work for AARP, which is statewide. So we're here because we've been doing some work with Brattleboro on pedestrian issues in particular. We started over in Canal Street and got into this because of the 3 pedestrian fatalities. And so we are interested in helping the town come up with solutions to make the town safer for pedestrians. It really is kind of makes a big difference for getting out in winter, which is so much of our year, It's like if you can't get out and walk in winter, it's really a drag. You start to have cabin fever, like way too much.
Pedestrian friendly.
Thank you very much.
Basically went through a pluses and wishes. Just wanted to bring out some big themes. If you want to check out the list so far, and then let us know what you'd like to add.
Yeah, our group, we need to collectively fill out our survey still. So I don't feel comfortable doing that by myself. So if people could gather to just go through that really quickly with me. Driver behavior. Do drivers have a good view of pedestrians waiting to cross?
Just a reminder, if you haven't signed in, please do that so that we can keep everyone connected as things evolve and develop. So, from the perspective of the Healthy Communities Coalition anyway, one thing I would leave everyone with, besides a great, generous thank you for helping us out here, is that while we did this stretch of West B, this is really about wherever we live, learn, work, and play, I guess is the term we use. Is we're just trying to make the healthy choice the easy choice in all of those venues. So my guess is if you take away from this experience, as I have in the past from other walking audits, you just see the world differently. You see your community differently wherever you go now. And I think that's a really valuable takeaway. We've got great input now on this stretch of the community, but my experience today will help me where I live in Alstead, New Hampshire, and other places that we're involved with too. So I hope you'll continue to think in that way as you go through your days in the future. Molly?
I'd just like to add something from the state perspective, because I was just talking to Howard about this, is that it's really citizen action that makes things happen. And, the state bureaucracy in terms of getting money down here and everything, it's really going to respond to people really caring. So that's another real value to this. And, AARP has been so great about following up with the Complete Streets, and it really makes a big difference.
So Tim Johnson called me while I was on my way back from the State House the day that Molly's bill was signed into law by the governor, the Complete Streets Law, and that was my point to him, was that, you know, the policy at the state level will only be usable if we, you know, bring it forward in our communities and speak out for, you know, the use of the law. It's in Saxons River right now. It's at play, you know, with the development of a sidewalk. Do we put a sidewalk in on this bridge, or do we take it out? And Complete Streets allows us advocates to say, no, 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 you can't. It has to be considered as part of the plan now. So it's already given us some teeth in some communities. So thank you.
There is senior housing near here, and we're working with people, the ADA committee. Whitney here is, I think, going to be a really important asset and partner for us here. But really, for us, it's about equity and access. And when people stop driving, we want them to be able to connect to the community in every way that they want to, and we want them to be able to go however they want to. So if they want to walk to the farmer's market, we realize it would be pretty difficult for anybody, but definitely somebody that's older from this location. So for us, it's really about making sure that people can stay as connected to the community and able to do the things they want to do for as long as possible. And we know that will result in really much better outcomes for people as they get older. So that's why we're in this, and we're here to stay. We're here to help as much as we can to see Brattleboro and other communities in Vermont become as walkable and livable as possible. And thank you, Whitney, for your partnership in this.
I have a quick thing I'd like to add. I think it's really important for people to have access to as many kinds of normal activities as possible, but in other words, non-medical appointments.
I would just say that I would reiterate what has been said as far as for seniors, as for school age parents, community, children, is that if you are trying to ride your bicycle from one end of town to the school, I mean, I will say from that direction, it's unsafe. It's doable, but there's a lot of unsafe situations, and that isn't ideal, and especially as we want to encourage children and their parents to be getting them to school by bike and by walking, which would reduce the traffic problem, which is well known, in fact, perhaps too well known in the West Brattleboro area. We need to put our resources into creating a safer infrastructure for pedestrians and bicyclists.
Thank everybody for coming out today. Really am hoping that we can, do this in other areas of town, so that we're getting the next step in this. I jokingly said to Steve we were giving him his to-do list, and that's not really the case. What we really are going to need to do now is do some prioritizing, and that's going to have to happen with the citizens' input. We can have on there, we want to have sidewalks on both sides all the way down, to the end of town. But the reality is there's going to have to be significant push from the citizens for that, because the reality is you're adding to infrastructure. I think we all notice some areas of sidewalk that we're not taking care of right now. So if you add to your infrastructure, you also have to be adding to the plan of maintaining and repairing your infrastructure. So we have some challenges and some decisions ahead of us, but they should be decisions that are driven by the citizens. So I thank you for participating today.
Just that, research shows that if we have safer pedestrian and biking facilities, people will use it. So, and for people's health, to be more active, to get routine physical activity, we need to make it easy and safe and inviting.
I'd like to add to that one more time. I think it's really important that your surroundings are such that you just assume these things are normal. And actually, as a result of this morning, I realize how unsafe and risky it is to be able to get around here.
I'd like to thank everyone for coming again. I know it was a big commitment on such a sunny day to spend time with us. So I'm going to work with Jennifer and anyone who wants to stay behind from the group that headed east to fill out the
doing the obvious ones.
There's
a few we could use input on.
We've collected all the data from today. We're gonna put all of the video and still photos and notes together from people today, that'll be shared with the Traffic Safety Committee. It'll be a set of data for us in the planning department as well. We can use this going forward in the prioritizing process that Barb mentioned. I think it's a great example of citizen input. I really appreciate your effort today, and I think there'll be more efforts like this in the future. And so, just one more time, thanks a lot for coming.
Thanks for everybody. Yeah.